works more times than not. Same thing goes for Cleveland. Last week, for whatever reason, they remembered that they had running backs in the backfield and actually leaned on them against Baltimore because I don't know where their defense went last week. But Baker Mayfield, for all these nice, shiny toys he has on the outside at wide receiver, there's no reason for this team to line up at 5 wide on every single play. Put in some big bodies, run the ball, use play action. It'll save Baker's stats to actually look decent for the rest of the year. And it won't put him in unnecessary binds and predicaments like third and long for no reason because at the end of the day, this team is still undisciplined because I think they lead the league in holding calls.
James, I think there's something more simple in this game. And last week we saw it. The Browns played far better because they did one thing, and that is they took the ball out of Mayfield's hands and they stuck it in Nick Chubb's hands. And that's was the key to their success towards the end of last year. And I think that's got to be their success, the key to success going forward. I think get the ball in Chubb's hand. He looks terrific, and that takes so much pressure off Mayfield. But I just said, remember last week I said that Odell Beckham would be having his incident with a piece of equipment on the sideline. Yeah. Well, I was wrong, because this is the week for it, because he's on national television on Monday night.
Oh, there you go. And how surprised were you, considering that Chubb had the game that he had, that when you heard that Chubb was out for the season with an ACL, that it was Bradley Chubb and not Nick Chubb? Also, Jarvis Landry, who was invisible through most of the season to this point, comes out, has a big game, and now in concussion protocol.
Absolutely. Not only him, but wide receiver Rashard Higgins has a knee injury, and they played some linebacker Christian Kirksey on injury reserve. Other players showing up on the injury report for the Browns include the entire secondary. That's Greedy Williams, Sheldrick Redwine, Denzel Ward, and Morgan Burnett. And for the 49ers, wide receiver Jalen Hurd has a back injury. He's questionable for Monday night, and Tevin Coleman is still nursing that ankle.
You know what that Kirksey injury means, Neil? Means Garoppolo to Kittle all night long.
Okay. I just wonder if Odell Beckham hit Landry with something to put him in the concussion protocol.
No, he didn't. All right, that's it. We've done all the games, ladies and gentlemen. We made it through
who's on
the slog of 1 o'clock games.
Oh, Miami and Detroit.
Miami and Detroit on the bye week. Miami, by the way, remains a unanimous 32. Detroit actually moved up in the power rankings to 15, despite losing in horrible fashion to the Kansas City Chiefs. I was doing my recap live with Rob last week and watching the end of that Detroit Kansas City game. So disappointing. So disappointing.
It was. I was. Well, you're not impressed with Detroit. I was really impressed with Detroit.
Oh, you have to be impressed. Oh, yeah.
I was impressed with their defense, not their offense.
You're a hard man to please, James.
I will say this. I've been going into this season all preseason long talking about Matthew Stafford and being distracted with the things that are happening off the field with his wife recovering from the brain cancer. The fact that he's played so well this season, perhaps it gave him a renewed focus on life. I don't know. Something definitely has happened. Something switched for Matthew Stafford this year.
He wasn't the problem last week. There was no commitment to the running game. When they did give the ball to the running backs, they fumbled. You have a tight end playing high hurdle, which ultimately got him knocked out of the game with a concussion. And the wide receivers weren't reliable against what everyone believes is a questionable secondary from Kansas City. This is a game that they had and couldn't put away, which ultimately is the biggest knock on Matthew Stafford, that he can't put teams away when their team is up. Conversely, defensively, they did some things wonderful early, and I'm pretty sure Belichick will make notes of everything that Detroit did on defense for their matchup later on in the season against Kansas City. But when the chips were down, I don't understand how you, again, call man defense on a 4th and 8 against a mobile quarterback to let him run free.
I don't know, James. It sounds like you're a bit sort of, every silver lining has a cloud with you. I mean, it's just.
I am very realistic, and which is why I'm not too high or too low on any of these 32 teams in the league, especially my own.
The real question I have here for Neil is the Dolphins have their bye week this week to get all rested.
Unreal.
Well, listen, they get rested up to face you in week 6. So which team?
Somebody's got to win.
Which team is going to finally break the schneid? Are you going to tie? Are you going to try? Is there a way that both teams can lose? Yeah, I guess it's the real.
Well, I think Jay, what you'll find, Jay, is after that Miami game, when Miami beat Washington, Washington will drop to 1-5. Did you get it?
I don't even know why you said that, because you were so down on them before. See, it fell flat. It fell flat, Neil.
I think, if nothing else, I would love to see Washington lose to Miami just to see the look on Ron's face.
And Ron, that you mentioned, is our tag team Miami Dolphins super fan. Although I have to say, he's really been the lead dog in that department. Where is Andy? Andy is completely disappeared. Disappeared.
Ron does expect the Dolphins to lose this week, so.
Well, but like most Dolphins fans, Andy's probably in hiding.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Ron does a great job on the recaps along with James. James doing double duty. Heavy lifting there for you, James. Good job
well done,
you.
James.
I do what I can.
On the recap show. That will be your next podcast. Unfortunately, this week, we just couldn't fit in the Superfan Battle Game of the Week podcast for you. I have a feeling there won't be people emailing us saying that they miss it. So we'll see. I mean, it could be wrong. Maybe somebody will. I would be extremely surprised as if the Washington Redskins score a touchdown against the New England Patriots.
Yeah, your over under was 1. I'm going push.
You're going push. You think they actually get one? Interesting.
Yeah, I can see Washington.
Time, Jay.
Yeah, I think that Washington might get 10 points in the game. I think that's probably as good as I can see it happening.
But I think that year that the Patriots went undefeated, Washington didn't score at all, and you guys almost scored 60. So I don't know.
I know.
It's one of those games.
Just like Hall of Famer Len Dawson. Patrick Mahomes will do his Len Dawson impersonation this week.
It's one of those games where you're winning by 35 points and then your world ends because one of our defensive tackles rolls up on Tom Brady.
Wow. I am not touching that.
Nor will I. Instead, I will throw it to Mr. Andy Dalton.
One question for you then, you two. In that game, who gets more snaps in that game, Brady or your backup quarterback? Is it still Stidham or you signed somebody else now? Cody Kessler?
No, it's going to be Brady. Brady will still get more snaps.
You think so?
Brady's not coming out of the game.
I can see it out of the game. I can see it being
like... The last time he came out of the game, the backup threw 2 pick sixes or something.
No, he threw 1.
Even with 2 pick sixes, you'll probably still be 25 points ahead. So.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
He's not coming out.
Nextfanup@gmail.com, at NFU Podcast on Twitter, Facebook.com/NFU Podcast. Tell a friend about us. That'd be great. Until then, here's Andy Dalton. This time for real. There you have it.
I never even heard his interview, so I don't know the context in which it was said. I don't know what he said before. I don't know what he said after. So I still haven't seen it. I'm not going to watch it. I don't care, But, I've got no ill will towards Jay. There's no feud between me and Jay. I think we lost the game. He said what he said, and, we're moving on. That's in the past now.